Hi guys! I'm back and this is Professor Haggard at your service at medyo matagal-tagal din bago ako nakabalik sa pag-vlog. But here I am now. I am at your service again. Before that, let me shout out. Shout out po kay Joseph Gutierrez Uliave at kay Marlon Lore na nag-comment sa comment section ng aking vlog. Guys, thank you. Maraming salamat sa mga viewers na patuloy pong sumusubaybay sa channel na ito. At rest assured, I will do my best to upload more educational videos na makakatulong po sa inyong pag-aaral. So, for today guys, we're going to discuss about correlational analysis. So, sit tight and listen. I will be back with my PC. So here we go. We are going to discuss about correlational analysis. We are going to talk about Pearson's correlation coefficient. So we are talking about a correlational research, for example. So napaka-importante that we should be learning about how to do this type of analysis. So this is of course can be used in our quantitative data analysis. So if we're conducting quantitative research, so this is very much useful. So let us start. So what is Pearson's correlation coefficient? So first we need to know that this is used to measure the strength and relationship between two variables. So dalawang variables. Okay? Remember, this is just to measure the strength and relationship between two variables. Meaning itong type of data analysis na ito is actually not pinpointing the cause and effect, but it's just measuring the strength and relationship between two variables. Okay? And then another thing for you also to remember is that Pearson's correlation coefficient quantifies. Okay? So this is for quantitative research. That's why it only quantifies on how closely one variable is related to another variable. So para mas madaling intindihin, let's just say for example, meron ka ngayong girlfriend, meron kang boyfriend, meron kang karelasyon. So we are actually just measuring how strong or how weak the relationship of the two of you, girlfriend, boyfriend, but we are not actually pinpointing who among you is the reason why you are having that relationship. We are just measuring the strength. Okay? So let me show you a table. So this table shows the verbal description of the strength of the correlation between two variables. So let me make it simple. So itong table na ito ay magpapakita sa atin that, for example, you're already done computing the correlation of the two variables. So itong table na ito ay makaka-guide sa atin kung paano natin i-describe yung relationship ng dalawang variable based only on numbers. So this is a table. So value of R, the value of the Pearson correlation coefficient. So if your answer goes from 0 to 0.19, or it could be negative 0.19 to 0, that could be very weak positive or negative correlation. Wag po tayong malito about positive, negative. So kung answer natin is positive, meaning that is very weak positive correlation. But if your answer is negative, so that would be very weak negative correlation. Yun po yung pagdi-describe natin about our correlation coefficient. Okay? So this of course is very useful kapag tapos na nating ma-solve ang ating correlation coefficient. Based of course sa number na makukuha natin sa ating mga variables. Okay? Later on, I will give you an example para mas maging madali sa atin maintindihan kung para saan ba ito. So, let us proceed. So, 0.20 to 0.39 will have weak positive correlation or it could be weak negative correlation. So, again, it would be based only, kailan mo sasabing positive, kung positive yung answer mo. So, if it's negative, so weak negative correlation. And then 0.40 to 0.59 will have moderate positive or negative correlation. And then from 0.60 to 0.79 will have strong correlation. Okay? Remember, so kung tumungtong na ng 0.6 0.60, 0.79 will have strong positive correlation. And if 0.8 na, or 0.80 to 1 will have very strong correlation. So remember, the Pearson sample correlation coefficient. So if you could take note while watching or while listening to this vlog, so mas mabuti. So you'll have knowledge after watching this video. So remember that the Pearson sample correlation coefficient can range between -1 and 1 inclusive. Okay? A positive R value indicates positive linear correlation, as I was saying. And a negative R value indicates negative linear correlation. Then a 0 R value indicates no linear correlation. Wala siyang correlation. A -1 or 1 indicate a perfect correlation. So meaning kapag tumungtong na ng 1, it is already perfect correlation. So that would be our base. So the closer the value, or meaning yung nakuha mong answer sa pag-solve ng correlation, kung mas malapit siya sa 1, it could be 1 or -1, basta mas malapit siya sa 1, that would tell us that there is a stronger relationship between the two variables. Okay, remember, so this is just a linear relationship kasi it only involves two variables. Okay, understood? So, let us go on. So, this is my version of the Pearson correlation coefficients. You can also find some other versions, but I am more confident about this one na ito yung gamitin for this blog because I think it would be much easier for you to understand. So the source for this formula is from this source, right? So where the value R is equal to, or the value of R is the Pearson's correlation coefficient, then N would be the number of pairs of values, or it could also mean that the number of participants. Then we have the sum of X values. So this is a symbol for the sum of X values. You can find it in this formula. And then the sum of Y values, alright? Then the sum of XY, the sum of the products of XY. Okay, the sum of the products of XY. So you can find it here. Then the sum of the squared of all X values. Alright? So you'll have it, the symbol or this symbol. The sum of the squared of all Y values. Alright, so of course, all of these values, ito yung hahanapin natin. And then we are going to substitute numbers for these different symbols. So yun yung gagawin natin. So this process in solving Pearson's correlation coefficient will only involve 4 easy steps. So sit tight and listen closely so you can get the whole process. Anyway, you can just play back this video so that you can get it as you watch it over and over and over. So let us start. So for example, Hill, a physics teacher, is interested in determining the relationship between the number of hours students spent on studying the physics final exam and their obtained final exam scores. Remember, so there are relationship between the number of hours and then the final exam scores. Remember, these data are measurable because we're talking about the number of hours and then the final exam scores. Alright? So those are the variables that are involved for this data analysis. Okay? So for this process, it is applicable for us to use the Pearson correlation coefficient because this will require us to solve for a correlational data analysis. Okay, so what did Hill, or the physics teacher, did? So he selected a random sample of 8 students in a physics class. The scores obtained by these students are shown in the table. So what is the Pearson's sample correlation coefficient? So ano kaya ang magiging answer? So we have here the table. Okay. So the students of Hill, only 8 students of Hill for physics class. Okay. So the hours spent in studying for student number 1 is 1 hour. Student number 1, 1 hour. So he got 70 for the exam. And another student studied for 3 hours, got 79. And another student, student number 3, studied for 5 hours and he got 90 score. And then we have another student, the 4th student, studied for only 2 hours and then he got 77. And we have here the student number 5 got 85, and then student number 6 for 3 hours he studied and then he got 81, and then nakakuha siya ng 75. And lastly, yung 8 na student, hindi siya nag-aral. So 0. So he got 64. So meron talagang hindi nag-aaral. So that is real talk. So with this data na meron tayo ngayon, pwede na tayong mag-solve ng correlation coefficient. So if you can think about what research you're going to do this coming opening of classes. So may iisip na, ano kayang magiging research ko na pwede kong applyan ng correlational analysis. Okay? So, remember, so if you're going to do a quantitative research, dapat measurable yung mga variables or measurable yung ginagawa mong research. So, we have here the hours and the next scores. So, measurable siya. So, meron kang makukuhang numbers. So, how to compute? Step 1, remember, take note. Present the data in tabular form and add columns for xy, x squared, and y squared. So, maaring ganito ang magiging forma niya. Okay, so we have here the table. This is a table na I suggest you do for the step 1. So, the data from here, we're going to transfer it in here. So, we have 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 0. So, ito na yan. So, for y, we have 70, 79, 90, 77, 85, 81, 75, 64. So, ito na din yan. So, we have student 1 up to 8. So, meron na tayong tabular form. So, don't worry about the formula na binigay ko kanina. We are going to use that only after we follow all of these steps. Okay? So, this is step 1. Gawa tayo ng table. Alright? Okay, are you done? Okay? So, if you are done, we can proceed to step number 2. Okay, madali lang yung table na yan. So, if you can do it, if I can do it, you can do it also. So, very easy. So, after step 1, we will have, of course, the step number 2. So, step 2, we can now calculate x, y, x squared, and y squared. How are we going to calculate those things? Okay, so we have for xy, we only need to multiply the value of x and the value of y. So 1 times 70 is 70. And the same process for the following cells. Okay, so of course 79 times 3 is 237. Tama ba? Yes. So we have x squared. Anong gagawin natin? We are just going to multiply the value of x by itself because that is x squared. So 1 times 1 would be 1. And 3 times 3 is equals to 9. 5 times 5 is equals to 25. And so on. And we have y squared here. The same process as we applied for x squared. We are just going to multiply the value of y by itself. So y, so 70 times 70 is 4,900. And the same process is going to be applied for the following cells. Alright, so we have the calculation for xy, x squared, and y squared. So that is step 2. Napakadali lang, di ba? So are you done? So, siyempre naman, I am expecting na mas mabilis pa kayo mag-multiply kesa sa akin. Alright, so let us proceed to step number 3. So, after doing all those basic arithmetic processes, we can now find the sum of the values of each column. So ito yung sinolve natin kanina. So what we're going to do is just 2. So for the x value, this is the sum of all x. We have 20. The sum of y is 621. Do not be confused about what I am doing. Ang ginagawa ko lang po is I am just adding all the numbers from here up to here. So 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 0. So all of those, if added, is equals to 20. Alright? So, nalilito ba kayo? I hope you're not. So we have y, 70 plus 79, 90 plus 77. So we'll have the answer 621. Ina-add lang po natin. And then for the sum of x, y, we'll have 1,644. And then sum of x squared, we'll have 68. And then the sum of y squared, we'll have 48,677. Ganun lang po ang gagawin natin for step number 3. Okay. So let us proceed to step number 4. So since we all have the values that we are looking for, para substitute doon sa formula, ito yung mga values na kinakailangan kasi natin. For sum of x, we have 20. Sum of y, we have 621. Sum of x, y, we have 1,644. Sum of x squared, we have 68. And then the sum of y squared, we have 48,677. And of course, the number of participants are only 8. So those are the values na kinakailangan natin for our formula. So let us now proceed to step 4. Step 4 will be about substituting the values to compute the Pearson sample correlation coefficient. Alright? Coefficient R. So this is the formula that I just gave from the very first part of this video. So the n would be number 8, of course. Then the sum of xy is 1,644 minus the sum of x, do not forget the parenthesis for the quantity, and then the sum of y would be 621 divided by the square root of n. What is n? That would be 8. Then the sum of x squared, is 68. So 8 times 68 minus the sum of x. Okay, then do not forget exponent 2 or square, and then bracket, the close bracket, then open bracket, n again. So we have 8. So the sum of y squared would be 48,677 minus quantity 621. For the sum of y, that would be 621 square. Alright? So, tapos na tayo mag-substitute. Now, we're going to solve them. So, for the numerator, we'll have 732. So, you can just compute it because it's very easy. It only involves basic arithmetic. So, multiply this first. Okay, and then before subtracting it, you can apply PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. The acronym for the process. Para hindi tayo malito kung anong uunahin dyan. So, PEMDAS. So, we have 732 over or divided by the square root of, huwag po natin kakalimutan, meron pong square root. So, the denominator is square root of 543,600. Okay? So, hindi pa tayo tapos. We still have the square root. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to continue this. So, the square root of 543,600 is, so we have the numerator, copy the numerator, 732, divided by 737.29. Right? So, pwede na natin siyang i-divide. So, the answer would be 0.99. So, to conclude, since the value of R is positive and close to 1, malapit na malapit sa 1, the variables have a very strong positive correlation. It means that students who took more hours in studying get higher physics score. Alright? So, napakadali po ng ating lesson for today. So, kung nahihirapan pa po kayo, let me show you a bonus lesson para mas maging madali yung pag-solve natin o pagkuha natin sa correlation between two variables. Okay, let's proceed to the Excel. Okay, Microsoft Excel. So, for example, you have the same data para hindi na masyadong mahirap, o you can also use this to check your answers from solving it manually. Alright? So, pwede mo itong gawin in the Excel. So, you're just going to click a cell. Click mo lang yung isang cell kung saan mo gustong lumabas yung answer o yung correlation ng dalawang variables. So, the formula is just, of course, we will start with the sign equals. Equals, and then you type in Correl. Correl, you can also see some suggestion. Then what you're going to do after typing Correl is, of course, we're going to click the, so you can see some suggestion. You can click that name Correl, the function Correl. You can double click on it. Okay, double click, huwag niyong kalimutan. So you can see here, Correl array 1, comma array 2. Okay, so array 1 would be about the x variable, and then array 2 is the y variable. So anong gagawin natin dyan? So we're going to click a cell. So this cell which kung saan nagsisimula yung data, we have here. So that would be D5. D5. So then after that one, we're going to click shift and colon. So we have colon. So for the next cell, we're going to click this last data for the value of x, and then comma. Then we're going to go to array 2. Click the first cell for the value of y, and then the same process, shift colon, then highlight the, then click the last cell for the value of y, and then close parenthesis, then you click enter, and you'll have your answer 0.99. So just in case hindi siya nag-round off, anyway, you can still see that tama yung naging sagot mo. Alright? So I guess that would be all for today, guys, at sana may natutunan kayo, and I'm very thankful kung meron kayong natutunan. So please do not hesitate to comment below kung meron kayong mga tanong tungkol sa lesson na to. Okay? And I guess that would be all, and thank you very much for watching this video.